Hi everyone, my name is Helen. Welcome to my channel. I'm a lifestyle journalist based out of Toronto, Canada, and in this video, I'm going to be vlogging later on, but first of all, we're going to do a sort of first look at this Currentbody LED face mask, which was, full disclosure, sent to me as a gift. There was absolutely zero expectation or even demand for me to post anything, but this is the kind of device that I love to test now that I am in my mid-40s, and I thought I would test it for you guys and tell you about how the first 10 days have been going with it. What it is, of course, is an LED mask that is meant to enhance the collagen in your skin. That is what LED light is supposed to do. So I've been using it for 10 days. First thoughts, it did give me a few pimples, I believe, owing to this. And I don't get very many pimples. I am postmenopausal, but a few have popped up. So I don't know if that means it's working well or it's just not agreeing with me. I will give it the benefit of the doubt and I will keep going. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and click the notification bell because I'm gonna be doing a full review on this at the 30-day mark, and we'll show like a before and after because I think it's just a little too early to see. And also I've got these zits, so we'll see if those calm down, but you'll wanna stay tuned for that, and that's not that far away from now, but you'll wanna make sure that you see that when it does come up. If you're interested in investing in this very expensive device, it costs, I believe, $495. So anyhow, it is not the hardest to put on. It's got a strap that you attach yourself, and the strap is Velcro, and you put it on like this basically, and you terrify everybody in your house. Then it's got this LED then it's got this button, and you press this, and you're blasted with light, and your first instinct will be to, hopefully you guys can still hear me properly with this on, your first instinct will be to close your eyes, but you will find that your eyes adjust even behind the mask, and then you look like this. And after 10 minutes, it shuts off on its own. So immediately, shortcoming that I've noticed is that this is heavy. So if you just let this dangle, I mean, you're welcome to lie in bed and relax and do this, which is probably what I would suggest to do. It does stay on nicely though because of the silicone. It grips to your face a little bit, so it doesn't have a sliding down feel anyway. But the problem is this thing kind of just dangles. Do you guys see that? It just kind of hangs there, which can feel heavy. And the other thing I've noticed is that if this even sort of slightly slips out, because this is the battery pack basically, it doesn't use traditional batteries. It uses, like, out of this end you put a USB port into your computer or some other charger that you have. You probably already have one. But if it slides out the slightest bit, then the mask turns off. Then you push it back in again. So I'm finding this to be a slight design flaw, and it does still stay on the timer for 10 minutes. So if it slips out, if you slip it back in, it doesn't like start from zero again, if you follow what I'm saying. But wouldn't it be handy if there was a clip or something on the back of this so that you could clip it to your clothes or something? It would be handy for me to just clip it right there and then maybe walk around with it. So that is a shortcoming that I'm seeing already. But in terms of ease of use, I don't think, oh, I can see it's a little crooked. I don't think it could be any easier than this. So the reason I wanted to do this also was just to show you what my face looks like immediately after it shuts off. So of course I'm not going to talk through the whole 10 minutes with this on because yeah, but when it shuts off, I'll take it off and you'll see there is a little bit of redness I've noticed in my skin. I don't know if it's just a tiny bit of heat coming from this. It could be a little bit of light sensitivity, even though I do not have sensitive skin. It doesn't last though, so the redness is just very brief and then it goes away. But I guess it is, you know, if you're very prone to like red skin conditions, I don't know, maybe rosacea. Of course, I'm not a dermatologist at all. I don't even know that much about skin conditions, but you'll want to double check in with your healthcare provider to make sure that this is something that you can use with whatever skin conditions you may have. What's also provided, and I found to be completely useless, is this tiny little pair of eye goggles that you can wear, almost like the kind you would wear if you do tanning beds, which I do not do. I do not suggest ever using a tanning bed. They're terrible for your skin. But they're these tiny little things that cover your eyes. But what I've noticed is they don't fit underneath this mask. I did give them a try for you guys, but the problem is they don't sit nicely, and then the mask does not sit on top of it. It just gouges them and pushes them really hard into your eyes. So I don't know why they were made that way. They weren't made to work in concert with this mask. I suspect they were just like included for people that have sensitive eyes, or maybe it's just the way my eyes sit in my face. I don't know. They just don't work well. I don't bother using them. Apparently this has been tested for your eyesight and your eye safety, and it is fine to be looking at it like this. But of course, if you want to amp up the relaxation factor, just like lie down and relax. You're supposed to use this on bare skin. I have bare skin right now, so the face that you were looking at before I put this on did not even have moisturizer on. So after this, I'll put on my moisturizer and then I'll start using the Cryo roller, which I will show you that they also sent me, which is an affordable object. Actually, that one's not expensive. This is a splurge. This is definitely an investment. I do have a code for you. Go ahead, check down the description box. I believe it's CB Helen for I think 10% off, but you know, there could be codes that are better. There could be packages, there could be discounts. I don't know. Have a look around before you invest and make sure you get some money off, but I have a link down below. Okay, so 10 minutes have elapsed, so time to take it off now. It does have a slight warming feeling, at least for me, but nothing hot or anything like that if that's a concern for you. Okay, so we'll see now. My face is a little bit red. Is that from being trapped underneath this for 10 minutes and not really being able to breathe? Is it because of the LED lights? I don't know yet, but it is not like a reaction. It is just something that lasts very fleetingly. Now that you've used it, you're supposed to take an alcohol wipe or just like a little makeup remover cotton pad with some alcohol on it, and you just rub this side every single time. So there is some maintenance involved. You'd want to clean the inside so that you're not putting that, you know, this is getting dirty every time it's touching your face. You'll want to clean it after each use. Now I'm going to put on some moisturizer and use the Cryo roller that I told you about. So I just went to grab my moisturizer. I am using Nudestix's Citrus Sea Mask and Daily Moisturizer with Yuzu and Turmeric. I'm finding this to be a really nice, thick winter moisturizer. I live here in Canada where it's incredibly dry and cold, and it always makes me laugh when people from other countries, warm countries, say, oh, it's so dry this time of year. And I'm like, you have no idea, because we have not just dry air, but forced air inside, which is also very dry. But anyway, okay, so I'm gonna, oh, yuck, put that on. First moisturizer of the day. So I am loving this particular one. I'll drop a link down below. Nudestix is a little bit under the radar in terms of being a brand, you know, that you would reach for skincare. This is one of the nicer moisturizers I've used in a long time. And this stuff is actually made in Korea. So it's actually, theoretically, Korean skincare. But I believe the company is Canadian, but it is available Sephora worldwide as far as I know. So once I've sort of put this in, and please forgive my tired looking face, you know, I am fresh out of the shower. You'll see my hair is still damp, but drying quickly. Once I do that, I get my Currentbody Cryo roller that comes in this nice case. You keep this in the fridge or freezer, and then you roll it out. Now, it says here, you can see this face, says to use this sort of pattern of working your way outwards. I am just a big advocate of just using it however feels good. I like to do this because I have some pretty deep frown lines. So this has been feeling really, really nice, and I'm pushing the skincare in, and then again, I have to clean this off just like you would with, you know, maybe even if you have the pad around ready already with the alcohol on it, just use it to clean this off, because you'll want to clean that moisturizer off every single time before you use it. So I just spend a bit of time doing this, and it pushes it in really nicely. So you'll want to stay tuned, because here's the thing, right? I'm trying to see what happens. I've got this mark here, this sort of hyperpigmentation, and I've even got kind of one on the other side. There's sort of age spots that have popped up out of the blue. You know, I'm not a huge one, luckily, for a lot of fine lines, although, you know, I'm almost 46, so I definitely do have my share of fine lines. I have these like creases here, you know, but I think my main concern right now is this hyperpigmentation I'm starting to see here on my cheeks. So we're gonna see if the LED is gonna help with that. It's supposed to help with that. I think it has maybe faded a tiny bit, or maybe not at all. But again, stay tuned. We're gonna do a full review very, very shortly. So yeah, this heats up very quickly. I mean, it takes the warmth from your skin and it goes right into that metal very, very quickly. So if I touch that now, it's already kind of warming up. Anyway, I do a bit of this and that, and then I let it all sink in, and then I go and I do my makeup for the day. So I think we're done here with the morning routine, and so that's another issue, obviously. Oh, look. My moisturizer is rubbing off the label here, so that's gonna be gone pretty soon. Okay, so that's the morning routine. So you need, you know, 10-15 minutes to set aside before you put your makeup on, because you're not supposed to use that mask. It has to be on bare skin. All right, makeup on, that's a little better, but I've noticed now a little tiny zit popping up right there, and I don't even know what to make of this. So I'll just keep on keeping on. Like I said, I'll give you the whole review in just a few weeks' time. A big blizzard apparently is coming, a really bad snowstorm, so I need to try and get stocked up now. This doesn't happen that frequently here, especially not before January 1st. But yeah, I don't want to be trapped inside without my necessities. Look how treacherous it already is. I'm actually fearful of what it's going to be like when the ice comes, but yeah, I'm just walking on the snow so that I don't fall down. So the thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is weight loss, and how I don't think you should do it. And I'm not gonna go into full detail here, but a few years ago, I started getting into the intuitive eating movement, and I have not strayed from that. And I found that actually, basically, my weight has not changed, which is kind of amazing considering I had always been on the sort of dieting and eating sort of normally pendulum. So I got off of that, worked wonderfully well for me. But you wanna check out what I have to say about it on my Substack, which is helenavery.substack.com, and it will already be out by the time this video is out, and I'll really give you the whole rundown on exactly what happened and just more details. Yeah, I've written it all up. So that is a free newsletter that comes out weekly. Look how good this looks. Shawarma taco. Yes, please. I can survive anything, but I cannot survive not having any snacks. So now you know what my priorities are. Okay, let me show you some uniquely Canadian flavors. We've got all dressed, which I don't think you have elsewhere. Maybe I'm wrong. And another one that is really popular here, ketchup, which I actually don't like. I find them too vinegary, but they are a cult Canadian classic. Not necessarily that brand, but that's all they have here. Okay, here we go. So basically a blizzard is coming, and the way I'm preparing is by buying junk food, which tells you everything you need to know about me. Seeing that we don't actually have much of a firewood supply, so that's not great. I think I might have to send the fellas out to go and get some, because it's way too heavy for me to carry home. I'm trying now to get a little bit of prep done, just making sure that I'm moving things that could blow around, because we don't want things flying everywhere, because we're supposed to be getting 100km/h winds, which is very, very windy. I want to make sure that my shovel is here near my door, because if this all gets iced out, then I'm not obviously gonna be able to walk around, go down the steps to get my shovel. So I'll need it to be handy at the door. And I'm just poking around the house in my backyard. I'm gonna look at the side of the garage, make sure that there's nothing that can fly around and hurt somebody or just end up somewhere else, like on someone else's lawn. And I'm gonna look on the side of the house too, and just make sure everything is okay. It's actually pretty mild out, so that is part of the issue, right? It's supposed to like have a lot of snowfall and then have a lot of rain and then have a really quick freeze, and that's where things can get really dangerous, because this may all turn into a skating rink, and I don't have a pair of skates, so. Okay, so I've got Killian's sled, so I'm just gonna shove that underneath the deck. Goodness, it's messy under there. Anyway. There we go. So that doesn't become a flying projectile, and because it's so mild, I'm actually just gonna nip out for a quick little walk. Last one probably for a few days, because if the ice is coming, you will not find me on the sidewalks, that is for sure. The word on the news was that apparently Madison, Wisconsin got absolutely walloped right now, so they are covered. Tomorrow it's gonna hit the Chicago area, and then the day after, it's really gonna come for us over here, which makes sense because those places are further west and it's blowing eastward. The vibe, however, has been very chill. People are just going about their business. I'm not seeing any rushes on products or anything like that. I'm not seeing extra people in the stores or anything like that, so that is interesting. We will see what ends up happening. I'm gonna end off for tonight now, and then in just a couple of moments it'll be tomorrow. So just keep watching and we'll see what ends up happening overnight. Well, good morning. We woke up to rain, dark skies, and that gave way now to this incredible snowstorm that is happening outside. Let me show you guys. All right, so the interesting thing is that it looks kind of just like regular snow, just like a regular snowfall, you can see here. But every once in a while, a huge gust of wind comes and all the trees go sideways, and it is incredibly kind of frightening in the fact that I think that we're gonna lose power. And there's a coating of ice underneath this nice white snow, which makes things very slippery. So I am actually going to head back inside for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the day, for the rest of the next few days. I'm not exactly sure what the weather holds. It's a bit quiet now, but every once in a while the wind really picks up and makes an absolute ton of noise. Yeah. So the New Year's coming and everybody's making a lot of New Year's resolutions, and I am in favor of self-improvement, but I think the whole New Year's resolution stuff is just completely over the top and kind of silly and very fixated in diet culture. And so while I encourage you to read the article that will already been posted that I talked about before, which you can find at helenavery.substack.com, I think I'm titling it What I Wish I Knew About Weight Loss 5 Years Ago. It'll get more into my sort of personal history and personal story, but I know some of you though are just going to be like fixated on trying to like get healthier and all that kind of stuff. And while I applaud general efforts to be healthier, I do want to say I think that dieting is not necessarily the way. One simple thing you can do that I found has really helped on my sort of path to sort of recovery from, I'm not going to say an eating disorder, but maybe disordered eating, is just incorporating a lot more fiber into my diet. I'm not trying to make it anything where you're counting the amount or anything like that, but I'm finding that like I eat more salad. I try, and if I'm having something junky, maybe have a little bit of fruit with it with skin on. Anything to sort of up my fiber seems to keep me fuller longer. And I'm not just saying it seems to, like there's a lot of established evidence that that is the case. And also that in most of our diets, we're missing fiber. So that's one tip that I have for you that I think that probably any dietitian would also endorse, because I am of course not any kind of, dietetic expert or anything like that. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm just saying this is what has worked for me in the past. The other thing is that I know some people they want to drop weight really quickly. I am completely against like keto, paleo. I've done those things. I think they wreak havoc on your body. I think in my case, they made my hair fall out, keto specifically. And that's just not the path that I want to go down in life right now. I think that if you're going to do anything where you really are intent on reducing, again, take this with a grain of salt, but maybe like something very mild caloric sort of lessening, maybe around like 200 calories less than you would normally eat, but maybe amp up the exercise or the walking instead. And so with those two factors, you can get somewhere, and it just make sure it takes a long time though. And I know that that is contrary to what everybody wants, like the quick fix, but the problem is if you do that, this is well known, you will wreck your face. I don't think that people realize this, but once you're not 25 anymore, if you want to be messing with your weight, going up in big increments of weight, very often your face, it takes a toll on your face. That may sound weird, but you may also know exactly what I'm talking about. You've seen people who've rapidly lost weight, and sure, they're fitting into that size, extra small, whatever, but it has a way of aging your face. So sometimes you have to pick. This is like the well-known, I'm not going to say this is a Chinese proverb, but I think it is because I've heard it so many times, but you kind of have to pick your face or your body at a certain age. And again, not to make this all about vanity or anything like that, but the meaning behind that meaning, like if you want to be very, very slim and you're intent on staying very, very slim, your face may look gaunt basically, but if you're a little plumper, your face will look a little bit more filled out and you'll look just generally younger and healthier. I didn't make this up. This is something I've heard many, many times. So just bear that in mind before you go on any crash diets. I'm just trying to warn you against crash diets, basically, is what this is coming down to. Okay, and now just a tiny bit of unsolicited advice about exercise that nobody really asked me for, but I'm gonna give you as someone who exercises every day. And I will tell you, something is always better than nothing. And when I say I exercise every day, maybe you think I'm like sweating it out and I'm like doing like high intensity interval training every single day. I am not at all doing that. And I don't necessarily encourage you to do that either, because if you don't enjoy it, you're just gonna stop doing it. So of course, find the thing that you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy it, just push yourself to get in small increments of whatever it is. I was talking to a friend of mine, we were discussing like ways to get more exercise into your day that don't revolve taking an entire hour out of it, which is completely understandable. One thing that I like to do when the weather's not like this is I like to go on 3 10-minute brisk walks. And so every time I eat, right away I put my jacket on and then I just go out for a quick walk. It's just 10 minutes. I walk to the park that's near me, do a loop, and I come back. And I know that that route is exactly 10 minutes, and I try and walk briskly. And then I'll do that after lunch, and then I'll do that after dinner as well. And so there you go, 30 minutes of like raising your heart rate. And it's really good. It's really good also for your blood sugar levels to walk or do something exercise-ish after you've eaten. So that's just like a super easy way you can incorporate more movement into your day that doesn't have to feel like you need to get ready, go to the gym, get in the car, drive over there, drive back, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be that difficult. And I think that we make it into this big thing where you've got to like have all the right gym gear and all that stuff. You really don't. You just need shoes to be able to walk, like reasonably comfortable shoes. But I mean, if you're going to do any kind of New Year's resolution, just make it something vaguer, like move more, like walk more, you know, get your heart rate up a little bit more. It doesn't have to be these sort of crazy all or nothing, like heroic efforts that I think that we want to do. I think that those end up in failure, usually within 3 weeks or something like that. I, for one, am not looking forward to the huge influx of people that come to the gym in January that edge out regulars like myself, and then they're gone by like, I don't know, March or something like that. So I encourage them, of course, to be there, but I think that, again, they've gone for the heroic effort, which is maybe not the way to go. I think just do something that works with your lifestyle and just build on it. Like, say you can't do 30 minutes, just do 10 minutes, just do 7 minutes. Anything is better than nothing. So anyhow, I hope that that encourages you to get out, stretch your legs, get a bit of exercise, whatever that might look like in, you know, unless you're dealing with like a semi-blizzard as I am right now. So in that case, you know, do an indoor walk video on YouTube. Aside from my mostly drank coffee, I've got all these devices now charging because, like I said, I'm afraid we're gonna lose power. So the phone is in, the essential Kobo Clara is charging. I'd say that's probably the most important thing that I don't wanna lose charge on. And then I've got this little power bank just in case, you know, everything goes kaput. I want to be able to have at least phone access, but my battery life is pretty good. Hopefully I don't need this stuff, but better safe than sorry. They're telling people actually to make sure that you store 72 hours worth of emergency supplies, which I absolutely have not done. So, I've never run out of water though, so I'm actually not too concerned about water, and food, we're well stocked up. So I think we're actually fine technically. I just haven't done like the technical amount of like water you need to like put aside and stuff like that, but I think that will be okay on the waterfront. Hopefully we don't lose hot water, but I'd be very surprised here in the city if we don't have access to any running water. And I know that would be different for people that like rely on like some sort of electrical system that helps to pump water into their house. That is not our case. Needless to say, I've not made many preparations. I am trying to get some cooking underway though, so that my cooking is done by like the early afternoon, so that if we do lose power, we can eat, we still have a dinner kind of warmish. Day 3 of the vlog. Good morning to you. We were spared. We actually didn't have much of a storm after all. We just had a lot of howling wind that kind of kept us up through the night, but honestly nothing beyond what a normal sort of bad wintry kind of windy day would be like. And outside we didn't get too much snow accumulation either, and so far the ice seems to have given us a miss as well. So big thumbs up. That's good. That means our lives can carry on as usual and we didn't lose power or anything like that. So here I am this morning. I'm actually going to take you through some sweaters. I'm going to show you my collection of sweaters, and I'm going to give you some tips on buying as well. I'm going to go against the grain of a lot of conventional wisdom and things that you see even here on YouTube about sweaters, and I'm going to say that the tutorials that are out there are actually not that helpful, or rather I have not ever found them to be that helpful. There's like a lot of talk about like, if your body's shaped like this, you need to have a V here, and if your body's shaped like this, go for one that's longer, and on. But here's the thing. Sweaters are not like other garments. There are just so many millions of different ways you can make a sweater. Every single one of them looks slightly different. I'm going to show you my selection here, and you're going to see they're all different shapes, sizes, etc., and so forth. So it's very, very difficult to give one piece of advice on all these different body types and how to purchase. Let me show you what we've got here. So these two sweaters are identical actually. This one in the lighter color will be easier to see. It is from Old Navy. They're just open front cardigans, and they are 100% cotton. So when I bought one, I loved it. The next year I bought another one. I bought its sister in black basically so that I would be covered. Over here is a Gap sweater. You've seen me wear this in some of my older videos because when I buy a sweater, I go through a real phase of really wearing the heck out of it that particular year. This one again is mostly cotton. I think it is, I'm going to say 80, well we can look. It's like I think 80% cotton and a little bit of polyester or something like that. Let's see. Okay, so it's mostly cotton. Well, 55% cotton, acrylic, polyester, and a little bit of nylon. I've had this for a long time. I bought this right before the pandemic started, so it's been in my wardrobe a while, and it's held up quite well. Up there is the newest edition, or one of the newest editions, this year's purchase I bought in the fall, which is a Nordstrom 100% cashmere crew neck sweater. This is a real heavy hitter in my wardrobe. I wear this all the time. This is one I have from Banana Republic, and I love it. It's just cute. It's got this like scalloped detail, and it's got holes in it, which are kind of pretty because then you can wear like something underneath. I just love the mint green of this. Very spring-like, but it's actually kind of a heavier just because of the way that it's made. I don't know if you can see here, but it is actually a thicker sweater, so I love to wear this one as well. And then I actually have two of these because I went back to Nordstrom Rack and I bought a second one so that I would have a backup. This is my Joseph A. turtleneck sweater, and I think this is mostly rayon, which is one of the few non-natural fibers that I will buy. So I'm gonna give you the actual tips now. So that's mostly what I rotate through, and you will have seen many of these here regularly on the channel. But let's talk actual tips now. So I don't think telling you what silhouette to buy is actually that helpful, so I'm not gonna do that right now. I think that you really do need to try on different shapes, and every year, you know, styles change, shapes change slightly, so I find that to be completely useless information. Some years you'll see puff sleeves on knit sweaters, and some years you won't see them at all. So what's the point of me telling you to get puff sleeves? This might be a year where they're not even making them in that style because it's not popular. But anyway, my number one piece of advice is to get natural fibers. And you hear me sort of always talk about natural fibers, but it really is so vital because it just lasts longer. And also it helps you make a good buying decision. So say you're in your fast fashion place, or say you're in your higher end place and you are going to be splurging, have a look first at the composition, or if you're online, you can often sort by material type. Try and make sure you're getting as close to 100% of a natural fiber as you possibly can. So for instance, 100% cotton, this one that I was telling you about, has lasted for so long, and it looks really good even after I think almost 3 years now. Cashmere speaks for itself. The Banana Republic one that I was telling you about in the mint green is 100% cotton. Let's double check. I bought this in 2016. I don't know if you know this about Gap tags. I was wrong. It's 60% cotton, 40% rayon. And rayon, actually, I will give a pass. Rayon tends to hold up quite well. I don't know if you know this in your Gap clothing. If you look, there's always a smaller tag in there. I'm not sure if you can see that. And it will tell you what year it's from. And it will say here, it says here, SPR 16, so that's spring 16. February 2016, I bought this, and it's honestly, it's in good condition today as when I bought it. And I don't baby my sweaters or anything like that. I put them in the wash and I try and lay them flat to dry for the most part, but I'm not taking them out to get dry cleaned or anything like that. Most definitely not. So that's the other upside of natural materials, aside from wool, which obviously you don't want to put in the dryer or anything like that. Needs a little bit more pampering and stuff like that. Cashmere obviously needs a lot of pampering. Do not put that just in the regular wash with other things, you know, but with a little bit of care, these natural fiber sweaters last and last. And if you're gonna go, because frankly, being overwhelmed is probably the number one reason people feel that they can't find a nice looking sweater. If you just narrow it down to natural fibers, that already is gonna make it a much smaller selection to pick from, like a curated selection to pick from. And from there, your buying decision already is that much easier. So hopefully that is not too vague as to be completely unhelpful, but I would say, yeah, natural fibers. So what are natural fibers? Silk, cotton, wool, merino wool, cashmere. It can be a blend of like cotton and other things. Rayon is actually not the worst. I do like things with rayon. This one, as I said, this turtleneck is high in rayon content. I think it's mostly rayon. I will give rayon a pass. It tends to wear really well. These are the fibers that wear really well. They are more expensive, but usually they just last and last, unlike stuff that is mostly acrylic. 100% acrylic sweaters, in my opinion, are the worst. They look terrible. They're the ones that pill like crazy. They're kind of junky, and in my opinion, they just don't last. And I've had acrylic sweaters since I was in my teens, and they have not gotten better. They really have not gotten better since then. My other tip is maybe go somewhere and maybe try and shop somewhere where there's not going to be a lot of pressure on you. So sweaters is maybe not the time you want to shop in a boutique unless you've seen something in the window that really attracts you, because you might feel pressured to buy if you're in a smaller situation and someone has picked out 2 or 3 sweaters for you and they're telling you they look good and you're not really sure. And if certain kind of people with certain kind of personalities will purchase the thing just because, kind of like peer pressure, I suppose, you know, I would say maybe go to a department store or order online a few different types that you can try on and really have a good look yourself. When you're trying on a sweater, it's important not to just look at the front view, because that's only half of the story, especially as we age. Often we have like a tummy that we want to conceal, or maybe like we're more matronly looking here, if you know what I mean. So you want to, of course, step back and have the side view as well before you buy, right? So, okay, those are my hot tips for buying a sweater to keep you warm in this cold weather. Hopefully you found those helpful. Had to get out for a walk. I'm very much an outdoor cat. I cannot stand to be stuck inside for too many days in a row. So I'm out and about. It is -10, which is about the coldest I can stand before I find it insufferable and I want to be inside. And apologies, my hair gets My hair strands keep getting stuck in my heavy lip gloss that I put on so that my lips don't freeze and fall off. But it actually doesn't feel that bad. A little bit windier than I would, here comes the wind. A little bit windier than I would like. Just feels good to be getting out and getting fresh air though. It's not too slippery out here. Sorry for the wind noise, I know it's really gusty. In honor of the new year, I thought maybe one fun thing we could do is have a bit of a raclette party tomorrow. And if you don't know what raclette is, you're in for a surprise. Okay, you're in for a bit of a treat. If you like melted cheese, you're gonna love this dish. It's basically melted cheese. It's a really common thing to eat in Switzerland after you go skiing. And it's just like a traditional sort of, I guess, mountain food you would call it, because they have so little access to fresh vegetables and stuff like that. If you just melt some cheese, you have some potatoes maybe with it, a bit of bread, and it's nutritious and it keeps you going and it's nice and warm, and you can imagine all the nice things in a climate like this. So I have actually a raclette maker, so I will show you guys. I've never used it. I've got to unbox it, put it together, and hopefully it works well. We can have some fun melting some cheese together. This is the little park that I was telling you guys about that I do my 10-minute quick loop. It's completely deserted, and you can see kind of windswept looking too, because there's been a lot of wind and there continues to be wind. Nobody's here, so I'm just gonna do my little loop and I'm gonna go back to the warmth of my home. Okay, this, my friends, is the raclette grill. And I've never had one of these before. And this is not 100% authentic, because a raclette grill, I think, just uses a wheel of cheese. Listen, I don't know. I'm gonna show you what it looks like though. Can you see that? That is like a boiled potato, and the raclette is getting drizzled onto it. So that's the idea behind raclette. Let's see. Yeah, you're supposed to just melt the cheese and brown it a little bit like that. Okay, let's put this together. So I've got this raclette maker somewhat assembled, and I should stop here to say that this was not sent to me. This was actually given to my dad as a gift from one of the companies that he works with. And I don't know why they decided on a raclette maker. It's not a Swiss company or like the Swiss consulate or something like that, but here we are. They weren't quite sure what to do with it because they don't know what raclette is, like I'm gonna say 99% of Canadians. This is not a typical dish for us here. Anyway, but I am now the beneficiary of this raclette maker. So far as I can tell, there's this huge heating element, which is like, wow, 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 okay, but you keep that covered with this, which on one side is like a grill, and on this side is, I think you put pancakes there, that's why there's those circles, but, so you pop this here, but that's not the raclette. The raclette is just like you put a piece of cheese in this, and then you slot it in here, like that, and because it's under that heating element, you see, basically kind of broils the cheese, right? While you've got this on the top. And then when you've got that all nice bubbly and brown, you scrape it with this and scrape it onto your food, and then you have your raclette. Okay, I think this is probably a better idea of what you're gonna do with it. You see the raclette there underneath, and then finished product, and then pour it on your food. If you're hearing a lot of gurgling in the background, it is my trusty humidifier blowing mist into the air because it is definitely below 40 degrees humidity in here. It's very, very dry. This is helping to take the edge off just a tiny bit, but you know what we really need? We really need to get a humidifier installed into our furnace because we don't have one, and that is a must. Right, so the best cheese to use is actual raclette cheese, and of course I don't have actual raclette cheese. The second best cheese apparently is Gruyere cheese, which is a Swiss cheese, and that one's easy to find, and of course I don't have that either. I wasn't expecting this. I didn't plan this well ahead of time. I do have brie though. So apparently you're supposed to use not like the more aged cheeses. This is a Gouda, which would have been Gouda, pardon the pun, but it's old, right? So this is an aged one. So you'd want to use something young. I do have brie, and that melts really well, so we'll use that. And I think we have some milder, younger cheddar, and maybe we'll throw that on as well. Because, you know, the thing is with the older cheeses, they don't have that nice mild flavor sometimes, and also they really stink. They can be very stinky, so best to use the cheeses that melt readily and don't stink too much, like brie, and hopefully this cheddar that we have in the fridge that I'm gonna go and get. Started things off here with some vegetables. That nice sizzle is just these mushrooms, a little bit of potato, which technically you're supposed to boil, but I had some roasted potato that we could use, so we're just using that. Niall's doing some little twisty turnies, getting those all turned around. And then we've got some bread, so we'll grill that a little bit. And then underneath is where I'm gonna start getting a little portion of cheese in one of these little, these like mini frying pans. So we're gonna get that going. So I've cut up some brie into thin pieces. You gotta keep it thin, and then we're just gonna place it under here. Oh my goodness, okay, here it goes. There we go. Put some in another. Get another plate on the go. That in there. And then I'm probably gonna put some cheddar. I don't know if you guys know this, but the best way to wrap cheese is to put it in parchment and then slip it into a Ziploc bag. This is the way that prevents mold the best. We've tried many different ways, and this way that I learned off TikTok of all places has actually been the most reliable and the best. Okay, so we're just gonna, this isn't processed cheese, this is actual cheddar cheese, and we're gonna melt that. I bet you that's gonna melt really nicely. Here, now, put that on your side. Just slip it under. I'll put it in the middle, maybe. A bit hotter there. Okay, Niall says the cheese is ready, the cheddar, so we're gonna scrape that on. Oh, I think that, yeah. No, you just put it on the food. That's it.
Oopsie daisy.
Okay, first one. Ooh, that looks good. Ooh, look at that. So now it's got a mixture of brie and cheddar. So that's raclette. This is what the brie looks like, in case you're interested. The brie is definitely taking a lot longer than the cheddar, probably because also it's thicker. I just had some that are so good. Niall, what are you having? You made a little concoction of, looks like mushrooms.
Mushrooms and brie, right?
And I've got just a little bit of potato, a bit of mushroom and brie. We're very much enjoying this, but I will say it is like being near a fire. A lot of heat comes off of it, so you can totally see why this would be a completely amazing après-ski activity. But we're almost done. It was really good. What did you guys think?
Delicious, yeah.
Great, yeah.
Reminds me of being in Switzerland.
Yeah, I've never. Well,
I had to put my hair up though because I don't want my hair to fall into the cheese. Well, that was kind of fun, wasn't it? We all enjoyed that actually. I think more than we even thought we would. I guess we are raclette converts. So here we are, last day of 2022, and it has been like a slog of a year in some ways, but it went quickly in some other ways. I'm sure you can relate. I am going to leave it off here, but not without saying, first of all, a very happy new year to you. I hope that the year 2023 brings all the things that you want into your life: health, prosperity, and happiness. I'm gonna leave you off with a video that I made not too long ago. This is one of my Vlogmas series, and this is about dupes that I've really liked. So I've got some like makeup on there, some clothes and stuff like that. So if you enjoyed this video and maybe you're new and you didn't catch that, go ahead and watch that, and we'll see you in the next video next week in 2023. Bye.